Welcome to Money Muscle Mindset, the podcast designed to motivate and educate you on your journey to financial and fitness success and to develop the mentality needed to achieve your goals. I'm Zay Molina, and first and foremost, I want to welcome you guys back to the podcast. I know we took a couple months off, guys, but the podcast is officially back, and I'm sure you guys can see we've made a few changes. I hope you guys like the new backdrop. No more green screen. We are officially in the studio, guys. And I feel like this is going to make the podcast a little bit better, right? To be able to kind of see a little bit more engaging, right, for everybody, right? So we've done a few little changes like this. Also, the thumbnails are a little bit different, stuff like that, but still the same great content to motivate and educate you to help you achieve your goals. So without further ado, guys, let's dive into today's topic. And today we're going to talk about why you're not really starting over, right? And what do I mean by that? Well, let's say, for example, we're trying to begin something once again, something that we've already attempted. For example, this podcast. I feel like this is a great topic for this because, again, we took some months off from the podcast, right? So as I started preparing this episode and the new backdrop and all the new thumbnails and everything like that, guys, I kind of felt like I was starting the podcast over. But what I had to remind myself, guys, is before this, I did 47 episodes of the previous format. And so if I believe that I'm starting over after 47 episodes, that basically means those 47 episodes meant nothing, right? But we all know that that's not true, right? Those episodes that I did, right, they kind of created the framework of where we're at now. Those episodes gave me ideas and different experiences that I can now apply to the podcast moving forward. So no, I'm not starting over. I'm actually starting smarter, right? I am now restarting this podcast, but with more experience, with more knowledge, right? Things that I learned that work, that don't work, right? Things that people are engaged with, that they're not engaged with, right? All of these different things that I learned from those previous 47 episodes, again, now I can apply to all the new episodes moving forward. So again, I'm not starting over, right? I'm starting with experience. I'm starting with knowledge. I'm starting with different skills. I'm starting with all this kind of stuff that I learned from the previous episodes. And that is an advantage, right? Because I'm not starting from scratch, right? I'm not just putting something out there and seeing what lands, right? I already kind of know what sticks to people, what people like, what people don't like, right? What motivates people, what educates people, right? I've seen the comments, I've seen the likes, right? I've seen the dislikes, right? I've seen all the things that you guys have given me, all the feedback, right? That has helped me. And now I can move forward, creating a better podcast for everyone. And so this same idea of starting smarter applies to everything that we do, whether it's financial, whether it's fitness, whether it's, learning something new, whatever it may be, right? We understand that if we technically restart something, we are now starting a little bit smarter than where we were before. Again, we're not starting from scratch like we did before. We're not starting from square one, right? What we're doing is we're restarting, but again, with more knowledge and experience. So even though we know that, let's kind of talk about why it still feels like we're starting over, right? Just because I say that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to click in our heads right away. Maybe you're on your fitness journey and you're trying to lose some weight or build some muscle, right? And you've started this before and you actually saw some results and then you put all that weight back on or you lost some muscle, right? And you kind of feel like you're starting over again. Or maybe in your finances, maybe you started trading, right? And you blew a few accounts, right? And each time you start a new account, you feel like you're starting over. So now again, I ask you, why does it feel like we're starting from square one again? Because when it comes to your fitness journey, from the very first day that you stepped into the gym and you knew nothing to up to now, right? You have gained knowledge. You have gained skills that you didn't know before. Maybe you hired a trainer, or maybe you just had friends, or maybe you watched YouTube videos that kind of showed you how to do different exercises, how to meal prep, what to eat, what not to eat, right? How many calories to track, all this different kind of stuff. You didn't know that when you first started. So now that you're trying to restart your fitness journey, again, you now know a lot of that stuff that you didn't know before. That's why you're not starting over. You're not starting from square one again. You have that knowledge that you learned from the first time around that you can now apply to your fitness journey this time. Same thing when it comes to your finances. Again, let's say you're trading in the financial markets. Maybe you've tried strategy after strategy, right? And you've funded different accounts. Maybe you've already blown, let's say, for example, 3 accounts, right? You funded them with $1,000 and you blew the first one, then the second one, then the third one, right? Well, now you're going to the fourth one. Again, you're not starting from square one. Those 3 accounts that you blew, I'm sure you've tried different strategies. You know what works, what doesn't work. I'm sure you won some trades, and of course you lost some trades if you blew your account, right? But the idea is you learn stuff from those 3 previous attempts that you can now apply to the 4th one. So again, I ask, why does it feel like we're starting over? And the reason why, guys, is simple. Our brain loves to see visible evidence. What do I mean by that? Well, again, when it comes to your fitness journey, right? You want to see visible results. You want to look at yourself in the mirror and feel good, feel like you're gaining muscle, feel like you're losing weight, right? You want to see that evidence. And if you're not seeing it, then you feel like a failure. And the same thing goes for your finances, right? Let's say you look at your trading account. You funded it with $1,000 and now you're down to $132, right? You see that you lost a lot of money and you feel again like a failure. By this logic, when we simply just view it as black and white, do we have results or do we not have results, right? When we look at it that way, then yes, it feels like we're going to be starting over back to square one. But again, that is just the view of looking at the results. We either have results or we don't. But in reality, guys, the experience is still there. That is what is actually invisible, right? We don't see the experience. We don't remember the experience until it's time to actually apply it. So when we don't see those visible results, right? Let's say we step on the scale and the scale goes back to exactly where we were when we first started, or we look at our account and we blew it all the way back down to zero, right? And we're simply looking at it as a results basis. Yes, we're going to feel like we're starting over. But the thing we have to keep in mind is we now have experience. We now have knowledge. We now have new skills that we developed on those previous attempts. So again, just because you put some weight back on or you lost some muscle doesn't mean you don't know how to work out anymore. Doesn't mean you don't know how to meal prep. Doesn't mean you don't know how to stay consistent and be disciplined in the gym, right? It just means you kind of fell off track. But all those lessons that you learned from going to the gym, from eating healthy, right? From doing all these healthy habits, those are still there in your mind. You now just need to apply them a little bit more consistently. That's it. You know what to do. You know what didn't work, what did work, right? Now it's time to just fine tune those things. And again, you're not starting over, you're starting with experience. Same thing again when it comes to your trading, right? Let's say you're in the financial markets, right? Well, now that you're on your fourth account, right? Well, now you know, hey, maybe I shouldn't just risk my entire account on this next trade. Maybe I shouldn't revenge trade. Maybe I shouldn't trade on these days when I had a bad day at work, right? You know all these different experiences that you learned from those previous attempts. This is going to now allow you to go into these financial markets a little bit smarter. You know what to look for, what not to look for, what didn't work, right? But now you can apply all this to help you now start trading smarter. You got to kind of think about it like a video game, right? There's plenty of video games where you have like a campaign mode or a story mode or whatever, right? That you're going through this and maybe you get to a point in the game where you run into a bad guy, you fall off a cliff, something happens where you get defeated. Most likely, you're not going to jump all the way back to the beginning of the game. Where do you go? You go to the last checkpoint. And from that checkpoint, you try again. You go to that next level that you were just on, that you just failed on, right? You may be defeated again, right? And it's going to send you back to where? That checkpoint. Because the game's not going to have you start all the way over and have to go through the entire thing again. You're going to these checkpoints for a reason. In the very first level of the game, it was probably just a tutorial where it was teaching you the buttons, teaching you the moves, teaching you all these different things, right? And now let's say you're on level 10, right? It's not going to send you all the way back to level 1 because you already know that. Those were the basics that you already mastered. Now you're trying to move on to the next level where you're continuously progressing and it's getting a little bit harder each time. So again, you're not jumping all the way back to the beginning of the game. You're starting back at that checkpoint at level 10. And again, the reason you're doing that is because you're not starting over. You already learned all those skills through the previous levels. Now you're going to use those skills and kind of see what's around you to be able to now attack this new level. And again, that same thing can be applied to our lives and our goals and everything that we're trying to accomplish. Again, we are not starting from scratch. Once you've already started, you're already further along than where you were. You will never go back to square one. You'll never go back to that beginning stages because of the knowledge, because of the experience, because of all the things that you remember and you learned along the way. So now we can use that experience to our advantage because all those past efforts now create leverage. You have a better understanding of maybe not what works, but what doesn't work. You have better awareness of different mistakes that may pop up along the way. You are able to relearn things a little bit faster. And you also probably have stronger decision making. You're probably able to slow down a little bit and think about, okay, what happened last time I tried something like this? Oh, well, this happened, right? You understand that maybe this exercise doesn't work for me because it hurt my shoulder from the injury I had a few years ago. So I probably shouldn't do this. I can find an alternative that's going to help me still build the strength in that shoulder. Or maybe, you know what, I was looking for this in the financial markets, right? And I was trying to trade it this way, but you know what, I realized that I shouldn't be looking for that. I should be looking for this instead, right? And you understand that, you may not know exactly what's going to work, but you know what doesn't work. And that is an advantage. That is experience. That is the lessons that you learned from those L's. Don't look at those defeats. Don't look at those mishaps as failure, right? Or losses, right? Look at them as lessons. Lessons that are helping you now move forward and have a better understanding of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. Your experiences are going to reduce your repeated mistakes. You may not remember right away, but as you start to do something, you're like, hey, let me try this. Oh, wait, I tried this last time and this is what happened. Maybe I should do it this way instead. Or maybe I should do that, right? And again, you may not know exactly what to do, but now you know what not to do. And that is going to save you so much time, so much effort to avoid the things that you know don't work. And now we can try something else. And again, by recalling that information, right, you are now able to make better decisions that are going to help you fast track your progress this time around. So again, the progress that we make, the experiences that we go through, it's not just about the results, right? It's also about the things we learn. And that is why we're starting smarter, not starting over. So again, before you start over, whether it's in your fitness journey or your finances, whatever it may be, right? Start asking yourself these questions, right? What did I do last time? Did it work? Did it not work? Make a list if you have to. These things worked. These things didn't work. If you can go deeper into it, why didn't they work or why did they work? Ask yourself, what slowed me down, right? What was something that really kind of halted your progress? Maybe you're at the gym one time and you saw just a whole bunch of people deadlifting. And you're like, you know what? Let me give it a try. I've never done it before, but let me give it a shot. And you go and you try it and you go really heavy and you hurt your back. Well, now that you're back in the gym, maybe you still want to deadlift, right? Maybe you can go in there and say, okay, you know what? What I'm going to do is I'm going to start really light. Let me start with just the bar, right? Let me ask someone for help. Let me start with the Smith machine instead of a free weight, right? And I'm going to go very slow this time. Last time I went super heavy and went super fast just to try it. Well, obviously that didn't work. I hurt myself. Now I know better. Now I can move forward and say, you know what? Let me try this a little bit smarter. Or maybe you say, you know what? I didn't like that exercise. I'm going to avoid it for now. I'm going to do something else that works the same muscles that I know I can do. That right there is experience that you learned from the first time around. If you had not failed at doing that deadlift the first time, you would have never known that. And you may make that same mistake again this time around. But because you did that, and even though you see it as a failure, right? Don't look at it as a failure. Look at it as a lesson that, hey, now I know what not to do. So now if I'm going to do it this time around, I know that, hey, I should go lighter. I should work on my form. Maybe I should ask for help, right? But again, now you have ideas of what can I do to do it correctly this time versus what you did last time and it didn't work. So again, ask yourselves, what did I do last time that, you know what, I just want to eliminate? Or maybe what did I do last time that actually worked and I want to repeat that? Again, these are all experiences that can help you. Your past failures, your past losses, right? Those become feedback to help you move forward. So basically, you're using your previous attempts as data. Don't look at it as failure. Look at it as, okay, this is what I did. Become a scientist, right? This is what I did last time. This is what worked. This is what didn't work. This is what now I'm going to apply to this time around. Again, I'm not a beginner anymore, right? I am starting with experience, with knowledge, with assets, right? That are going to help me move forward and do better this time. So again, maybe you're on your fitness journey, right? You want to lose 30 pounds, right? Well, maybe last time you lost 10, but then you gained it all back. That's okay. Again, we're not starting over. We're starting smarter. What did I do last time? Well, maybe you meal prepped every single day for the first couple of weeks. You knew what to eat, what to do in the gym. You had someone help you write you a workout program and all this kind of stuff, right? So you knew what to do, but maybe you just lost motivation. Maybe you were really hyped and you were really excited to go the first week. And then the second week came and you're like, yeah, I don't really feel like eating the same meal. I don't really feel like going to the gym after work. I'm just going to skip it today. I'm going to have a cheat meal. And then that became a habit where you did it again the next day and then the next day. And before you knew it, you stopped meal prepping, you stopped going to the gym, and all these bad habits came around again. Well, now this time around, you know what? Hey, maybe I should make something that I actually like for my meal prep. Maybe I shouldn't just make this diet just because I saw it on Instagram, right? I want to actually have something that I like, that I enjoy, that I know I'll eat again. Or maybe last time, I was going to the gym before work and I was super exhausted, super tired. I never really wanted to go. Maybe this time, let me try going after work. Maybe let me try going on my lunch break or even on the weekends on my days off, right? Let me try to find a different schedule that works better for me. And so now you can see, again, I'm not starting from square one again, right? I understand that my last attempt, I learned these different things of what worked and what didn't work. And now I can take those experiences, I can take that feedback and I can apply it to this time around. I know what worked last time, what didn't work, and now I can apply it. And I know I'm going to face new challenges along the way. I know I'm going to make other mistakes, right? I'm still going to have those cheat meals. I'm still going to have those days that I don't have motivation, right? But now I know, hey, you know what? Let me just force myself to walk in through those doors. I may do a light workout, may do half a workout, but at least it's better than not going at all. Maybe for my meal prep, I find different recipes that I actually like versus what I didn't like last time. And you know what? Maybe instead of making 21 meals, 3 meals a day, all meal prep, maybe I take off 2 and I have a little cheat meal. I understand that I still shouldn't go crazy and eat a whole lot of stuff, but maybe I can have this as an enjoyable meal that's still a small portion size, that still hits my protein goals, whatever it may be. But you guys understand, again, I am now using my previous experiences, my previous, data, and now I'm using it as feedback to help me on this time around. And because I have that experience, because I have that data from last time, I am now starting smarter. I'm not starting over, right? I have that knowledge to help me again on this time around. So again, guys, don't think of it as starting over. Think about it as starting smarter. Think about it as starting from a new checkpoint. You're never going to go back to that day 1 person. You're going to now go back to maybe day 10 or day 100, right? Whatever it may be, but you're never going to go all the way back to the beginning. You're going to go back a few steps, right? We're all going to take a step back, kind of look at the bigger picture, but now we can use that previous experience, those previous failures, those previous losses, whatever you want to call them, right? But now they are lessons that we are taking into this new journey this time. And by having that simple mindset shift, guys, that can help you really expedite your results this time. So again, don't think you're starting over. Don't think you're going back to the very beginning, right? Think about it as, hey, I am starting smarter. I'm starting with experiences, and this is going to help me achieve my goals this time. Again, that's exactly what I'm doing with this podcast, guys. Again, I feel like everything I learned from those last 47 episodes, all the feedback you've given me, guys, the likes, the dislikes, the comments, all of that stuff, I feel like I can now present a better podcast for you guys this time around. So with that being said, that's what I got for you guys on today's episode. I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. Again, hopefully this helps you guys, again, realize you're not starting over, you're starting smarter. So with that being said, thank you guys again for watching. And I'm going to leave you guys as I always do. Remember, success isn't just about the money you make or the muscles you build. It's also about the mindset you develop along the way. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode of Money Muscle Mindset.